Today we're going to find out whether this can tow this.
Really makes me wonder. Yeah, it makes me wonder. Oh, I wonder. Oh, I just wonder.
Seriously, we're not going to tow our Grand Design 312 BHTS with this Ferrari here. One, because I've been told it doesn't have a tow bar, so I can't actually hitch it up, and two, it'd be pretty stupid. But anyway, the reason for this video is because I see so many posts on social media about can I tow this, or what vehicle do I need to tow my trailer, blah blah blah. Then the tow police come in. It always turns into some crazy online argument. So it's actually really easy to figure out whether you can or not. Here's where everyone gets confused. Towing capacity and payload are two very different things. The chances are that most vehicles can actually tow a lot of weight. For example, can the new electric F-150 pull £1 million worth of freight train?
Just quietly pulling over £1 million.
So now we're at 1.25 million pounds.
Yes. Or can the old Toyota Tundra pull a space shuttle? Yes, they can do that. But there's one big thing here, is that their towing capacity, which is pulling stuff, is not the same as the payload. Okay, so here is my truck and here is a trailer. So that's cool. Can this truck tow this trailer? Yes. One big important difference here between this kind of trailer, stupid, it keeps coming off, and this kind of trailer. Now the big difference here is that you'll see there are axles at the front. So if I push down here, nothing happens because all the weight is on this front axle. If I push down on this one, the truck pops up. So the problem there is that all of the weight of the front of this trailer is on the rear axle of the truck. Our F-250, it's a single rear wheel and it's a diesel and it can tow 21,000 pounds. If it's a fifth wheel, it can tow 27,500. However, the problem is that the payload of it is only 2,200. So the payload is the weight in the back of the truck. So if this weighs 21,000 pounds, my truck can legally pull it. The problem is the payload of this in the back of the truck is too much, and my truck can't because my truck only has 2,200 pounds worth of payload. So what it can pull and what it can carry are two very different numbers, and you'll generally find that the trucks will max out the payload before the towing capacity. So the one mistake that we made when we bought a truck is we had the choice of the F-250 or the F-350. The F-350 was a couple of grand more, and the only difference between the two is it had an extra spring in the back. Now at the time, I didn't know what I know now, and so I went for the 250. There was a couple of other reasons to do with commercial vehicle tax and things, but ultimately, if I could go back now, I would buy the F350 because there is one extra spring in the back which increases the payload. Now, we don't have big payload issues with our setup at the moment, but we are very, very close, and I would really like to have a big buffer between that payload limit and above. Let's think about it. So why is payload so important? Well, if you have, say you have a solid block of lead that weighs 100,000 pounds and you put that on the back of a truck, the first thing that's going to happen is, well, the truck's going to throw itself up in the air. But then the second thing that's going to happen is the axle is going to snap, and then the tires are going to burst, and then the wheels are probably going to crack as well. So everything you have on the truck has weight limits, and it is the same with your rig as well. Your rig has a weight limit, and that basically says the tires can only hold enough weight, the axles can only hold enough weight, and the chassis can only hold enough weight. So that is all payload numbers. Here's what really pisses me off. RV manufacturers know the general payload limits of specific trucks, whether that's an F-150, F-250, the 1500 Silverado, the 1500 Ram. And so they know that they can build a rig that those vehicles will be able to tow legally. So the reason why is because an RV manufacturer can't let you leave the lot unless you have a tow vehicle that can tow that trailer off. So they build their rigs to be slightly under those payload limits, so that legally you can turn up in your F-150 and you can tow that rig off the lot. Let's say you have an 8,000 pound trailer. This is a little bit more than that, but let's just, for the sake of saying this, let's say this is 8,000 pounds. 20% of that weight is on the hitch. So that 20% of that weight is on the back of your truck. So that's 1,600 pounds. Remember that, 1,600 pounds. So let's say you have a half-ton truck. The average is around about 2,000 pounds payload limit for those, right? So that's fine, that works. So you go buy your rig, that's 8,000 pounds. You've got 20% of that is on the back of the truck, that's 1,600. You have a 2,000 limit. You can tow that rig off the lot. No problem at all. But don't forget the payload is everything that's in the truck. So you have to consider the driver weight as well. So let's say the driver is 200 pounds. No big deal, right? So that's 1,800 pounds. You've got a 2,000 pound limit. Okay, 1,600 for the weight of the trailer, 200 for the weight of the driver. No worries. But then let's say that they have a passenger. So let's say my wife, Natalie, don't know how much you weigh, but let's say it's 150. So now we're up to 1,950 of our 2,000 pound limit. That's fine, no worries, it still works. Oh, but wait a second. Let's say you had 2 kids. They each weigh 50 pounds each. Okay, now we're over. Big deal? Probably don't want to. I'll explain why in a moment. But don't forget all the other stuff you have. That's with the trailer being empty. So the truck is empty. What if you have a 100-pound generator in the back of your truck? It's another 100 pounds. What about all your sewer connections and things? What if you have a toolbox in the back of the truck? There's nothing in the trailer right now, so as soon as you fill up a water tank, you are way over. How much does 50 gallons of water weigh?
50 gallons of water equals 417 pounds.
Then you have to think about your clothes and the food and the stuff that you have in the trailer. You need to consider all of this. So this is why it annoys me. You can legally, if it was me in my truck, pulling the trailer off the lot, it's fine, no problem. As soon as I put anything else in that trailer or the truck, I am then illegal. So here we go. Old goody goody two shoes, Brazen Brits tow police on the case. Well, I'm not that strict about it, if I'm honest. So I appreciate why it's important. And the reason why is we had an F-150 and we towed a trailer that was way over the payload. And it was the worst driving experience of my life. One is the steering was very, very light, which is extremely dangerous for a couple of reasons. One, because you can't steer very well, especially if you're going over bumps, and then the front will pop up. The other thing is the brakes, it just could not stop it. The truck could not stop the trailer very well, so that was scary. But by far the worst thing, even though we had the E4 equalizer weight distribution hitch, the sway was unbelievable, to the point where the truck, the F-150 with the tow package, actually has something where it will engage all of the trailer brakes for you. And so anyway, it was scary as hell. We got home and I said, I'm never towing that trailer with this truck again. And we didn't use it for a year until I bought the F-250. We since changed out the rig. But anyway, so there's those things. Driving is just horrible with it. But my biggest fear by far is that it is actually illegal. So, okay, again, goody goody two shoes, Brazen Brits, tow police, back again. Not really, but my fear is that, let's say you're at an intersection, right? Your light is green, the crossroads is red. You go along, a car comes from your right-hand side, you can't stop, the car can't stop. There's an impact. Everyone's okay, obviously. However, the first thing the police do when they turn up is they're going to check the sticker on the inside of your truck. They're then going to check the sticker on the outside of your rig, and they're going to figure out what your payload is and what the weight of the RV is. Then they're going to figure out, okay, well, he's what, 180 pounds, she's 130 pounds, they've got kids, they've got a bunch of stuff in the back. They're pretty quickly going to figure out that you are overweight for your vehicle. So one, you're breaking the law because you're overweight, no big deal. Not many people would care too much about that, even the police. But the problem with that is that then that makes you uninsured. So also the accident, whether it was his fault or not, you're probably going to get the blame because you were the one at fault because you were overweight on your trailer. My biggest fear, but out of all of this, is if that happens, the insurance will not pay out. So at this point, you've lost your truck, you've lost your rig, everything inside it possibly. The insurance company will not pay out because you were over your towing capacity, making it illegal, which invalidates your insurance. Not only that, but you will probably have a criminal record and possible jail time with a huge fine. So you've lost everything and you have to pay out a whole bunch of stuff just because you didn't check the payload of your truck. So really, if you only get one thing out of this video, it's to know that if you're just starting out or you're upgrading your rig or your tow vehicle, please do your homework. And payload will always be the issue, always. Do not trust the truck manufacturers. They have no idea about towing. They're just sales guys. They normally drive a Fiesta or something like that, right? They don't know, generally they don't know about towing. Plus they will do anything they can to sell your truck. Yes, it will tow that rig. Yes, it will. RV dealerships are the worst because yes, they will tell you it is legal for you to tow that rig. And it is. Towing it off the lot. As soon as you put anything in it, it might not be. So make sure you have that buffer. But wait again, Mr. Tow Police Lawrence of Brazen Brits, I've got airbags and a weight distribution hitch. Fantastic. That is great. I don't have airbags, would love them. I will get them at one point. Makes the ride much more comfortable. Yes, it does increase the payload of the truck because you have the air that's in there to help support the suspension, which should increase the payload. But it does not change the sticker on the truck. So you aren't above your payload. Sure, it can actually do it, but legally and on paper, you cannot, which still makes it illegal. Now, interestingly, I found out from a couple of our Brazieres, Adam and Claire, who are actually in the UK. They've just bought a fifth wheel. And in the UK, if you get government certified airbags and other tricks and things like that, you can actually send those details off to the DVLA, which is the equivalent of the DMV here, and they will change the official payload of your truck. So it is legal to do that there. As far as I'm aware, in the US, you cannot do that. You can do all these things to upgrade it. You could put F350 suspension on an F250, which would do the same thing, but legally it's still an F250 and you're still the lower payload. All right, well, I hope that helped. Remember, payload is going to be your biggest problem most likely on any truck that you're towing with. I thought we'd try towing the rig with this. I think it would be able to tow it this way, but the payload would be an issue for this. I actually looked for some numbers, I couldn't find it. But anyway, it doesn't have a tow bar, so we're not going to be able to do that. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, thank you for watching. If this helped, please hit like. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, we've just opened up membership, so you can become an official Braziere. Very cheap. There's lots of different levels that you can join, so go check that out, please. If not, we will see you next week. Can I drive it? No. Pay $50 just round the block.